Hi, this is Jennifer C., the teen librarian over at the Suffer Free Library. Every week this summer, I'm going to be doing in my house apartment kitchen a vegan cooking demonstration. This week, to start off with, we are going to be making a very fairly easy breakfast dish, a cinnamon banana berry French toast dish. Usually with French toast, you would use eggs to kind of dip the bread in. And this one, instead of the egg base, the base for it is banana. You might see me reaching for the computer screen at some point during the video. That is because I'm making the video in parts that I'm going to then splice together for the final video. But before we get started with the cooking, I'm going to tell you what ingredients you would need for this dish. To start with, for the actual French toast making, there's also going to be a berry syrup that goes onto it and then kind of toppings for it. But to start off with, you are going to need 2 ripe bananas. So you can either buy a relatively ripe banana at the supermarket, or you can buy them green, let them a week or so, they'll turn ripe. These bananas are getting pretty ripe. They're kind of falling apart, the peels of them. You need I kind of bought bigger bananas than I really needed. You don't need such a big banana. 1 banana would be used, like I said, for the base of the French toast dipping. 1 would be to serve on top. You will also need a cup of unsweetened almond milk. It's unsweetened, the kind I used, but I did make it vanilla flavored just because I don't really like the taste of almond milk by itself. You will need half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. You will need a quarter of a teaspoon of ground nutmeg and half a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Then you will need 1.5 teaspoons of all-purpose flour and a pinch of sea salt. I prefer using sea salt in a dish like this rather than like kosher salt or just regular iodized salt. It's flakier, the texture is better, and I like the taste better. We're going to use a teaspoon of maple syrup to make the dipping sauce. You're going to use maple syrup again to make the berry syrup later. Then 4 slices of whole wheat bread. Now, I know technically you can use another kind of bread, but I have found that the whole wheat bread it stands up stronger when you dip it in the dipping, rather than, like, let's say white bread, which kind of falls apart. I'm going to go through after every part of this while we're doing the recipe and cooking. I'm going to repeat the ingredients, but I want to kind of get the ingredients out at the beginning of the video too, just so you don't have to watch the whole thing to know what ingredients you need. Then we're going to move on now to what you need for the berry syrup. For the berry syrup, you're going to need a bag of mixed frozen berries. I bought a 12-ounce bag that has strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, and raspberries. This tends to be in the freezer aisle at your local supermarket. The recipe from the book I got said 14 ounces. I have done this recipe once or twice before, as I said, and first of all, I couldn't find a 14-ounce bag of mixed frozen berries. I have also found that 12 ounces works, like you get enough syrup for the serving size of this dish, which we're going to do, which is 2. You don't really need 14 ounces. 12 ounces is fine. You're also going to put into some syrup, you're going to put in water, and once again, the maple syrup. We're going to use for the syrup a tablespoon of maple syrup. Then at the end of the dish, once it's cooked to serve on top, you're going to, like I said, 1 of the ripe bananas, a plant-based yogurt, about a quarter of a cup of it. I used almond yogurt. There's also soy-based yogurt. There's coconut-based yogurt. You can use a yogurt that has fruit mixed in, although it's not really necessary because you're also going to be putting 10 to 12 fresh berries on the top of the dish. So you kind of don't need a yogurt that already has fruit inside. And also we're going to use a tablespoon, not tablespoons, 1 tablespoon of flaked coconut. So I'm going to pause the video while I go grab the utensils that we need. They're on another side of my kitchen. My kitchen is not that big, so I kind of need to like put everything in random places and then kind of grab them as I need them. So I'm going to pause the video for a moment and you will see me in another moment. Okay, so moving on with the video, we are going. All you need for this dish to actually make the dish, besides the ingredients, is you're going to need kind of a. They say a wide, shallow bowl. It doesn't need to be that wide. It doesn't have to be that shallow. It just needs to be something that you can dip a piece of bread into, and then, like you do with regular French toast. I'm using a little plastic Tupperware container. You're going to need a fork. You're going to need measuring cups, measuring spoons. You're going to need a plate, obviously, at the end to put the dishes on. Since the serving size is 2, you would usually use 2 plates. I'm going to have 1 plate because I'm going to eat 1 serving after, and then put the other one in aluminum foil and put it in my fridge for later. You are going to need a large baking sheet because you are going to need to put 4 slices of bread in the oven at once. Here is my large baking sheet. You are going to need parchment paper to put on the baking sheet. Here's my parchment paper. This is something that was not in the recipe itself, but that I found when I did the recipe myself when I cooked it last. When I cooked my slices of bread, the bread was sticking to the parchment paper. So I would suggest using a vegetable oil cooking spray to spray on the parchment paper. You'll see me do that later, just in the hopes of making sure that when your bread comes out of the oven, you're not destroying it when you try to take it off the baking sheet. You will also need, to make your berry syrup, a small saucepan and a wooden spoon. So you don't need that many utensils. It's a pretty easy dish to make. So we're going to start in a moment actually making the dish. You're going to want to, before you start actually mixing things, you're going to want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. That is that's the temperature you'll use to cook. You'll also probably, just for convenience sake, want to put the parchment paper on the baking sheet beforehand, just so that you don't have to do it midway through cooking. So that's what we're going to do now. I'm not going to make you watch me preheat my oven, because first of all, my computer, the angles will not work for that. When you see me actually making the recipe, I am going to change angles so you can see what I'm doing. Right now I'm just talking into a computer screen. But in a moment I will show you what my baking sheet will look like when I put the parchment paper on. So see you in a moment. So my oven is now preheating to go to 350. I now have my baking sheet parchment papered, although I haven't vegetable sprayed it yet. Well, while we wait for the oven to preheat, I am going to make the base for the bread to dip in. So let's start that. I'm going to angle my computer screen differently. So far, I've just been kind of talking into the screen, but I'm going to move the screen so that you can see what I'm doing as I do it. So to start off with, like I said, I have my bowl that I'm going to actually put the stuff that we start to do. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to peel and mash one of the bananas we have. Oh, my oven is heating up pretty fast, probably because it's really hot out. I actually waited till nighttime to make this video just because I know that this video is being published in I think end of June or early July. Ugh, this banana's really ripe. It's gross. But I'm making this video in the beginning of June, and we had kind of a heat wave this weekend. It was in the 90s, and I did not want to have my oven on. I don't have an air conditioner in my kitchen. So, let me throw these banana peels out. And I am mashing. Oh, I forgot to show you, like, what I'm doing. Here. I don't know how this is going to, I'm mashing a banana. That's what, I'm going to describe what I'm doing just because it's probably easier to describe than to see. The video, the quality of my camera on my computer is not 100% great. We have a kind of little, you know, when the edges of the banana are like hard and gross? Yeah, that's going into the garbage too. Oh, if you hear barking, I have neighbors and they're probably walking their dogs right now because during the day they didn't want to walk them because it was too hot out. So now I'm peeling and mashing. Like I said, the bananas I bought were kind of too big, I think. And so I have a lot more mashed banana than I need. Like I said, the banana takes the place usually you would use eggs and milk. So we're going to want a cup of unsweetened almond milk. And like I said, I'm using vanilla just because I do not like regular almond milk. My oven's getting hot pretty fast. We're at 270. Fortunately, this doesn't usually take too long. Pour a cup of the almond milk. There's my unsweetened almond milk. It goes in there. Okay, I think that's all I need the almond milk for. So to make space, I'm going to put my almond milk back in my fridge. Now, I'm going to mix the banana just a little so I don't have to... I'm going to be careful here so I don't, like, throw, like, almond milk all over my counter because my computer is currently on my counter. And my computer, I do not want to buy a new computer if I get more milk in my keyboard or whatever. Okay, so now we need half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Half a teaspoon is, let's see which one. I use my teaspoons. I should know this. I don't usually use the half teaspoon one. I use like the quarter teaspoon. I use the tablespoon. It's okay if you like put a bit extra in, but you know, you don't want to waste. So I got my half teaspoon of cinnamon. I'm going to put it in my little bowl. Then I'm going to do a quarter teaspoon of nutmeg. So my quarter teaspoon's the little one. Let me put my cap back on my cinnamon just so I don't accidentally put that one in. I don't know if I opened my nutmeg yet. I bought a new... Oh, I did open my nutmeg. Cool. I bought a new thing of nutmeg because I don't use nutmeg that often. I use it in cookies, but I haven't made cookies since, like, the holiday season. So my old nutmeg expired, or I ran out, so I bought a new nutmeg. Okay, I got my quarter teaspoon of nutmeg. If you don't like the taste of nutmeg, I've made this recipe without nutmeg before, so it's not a tragedy. Oh, that beeping is my oven preheated. It is all preheated. Okay, so we need half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. So half a teaspoon. I literally just did this. I should know this. So half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. You know when you watch those cooking shows, like with like real chefs, and they have like a really nice kitchen and really good like production value? That is not what this is going to be. Sorry guys, you're going to get like person working in a regular apartment kitchen with a HP laptop from 3 years ago that every once in a while just like breaks because I dropped it on the floor once or twice. I actually, like a week ago, just dropped my laptop on cement, and I was like, oh god, it's over. It's time for me to buy a new laptop. But surprisingly, my laptop's been working like better than it did before. So maybe I just have to like knock my laptop onto the ground a few times. Okay, so now we need the flour. We need 1.5 teaspoons of all-purpose flour. I don't really know what the difference between all-purpose. I know there's like bleached flour and unbleached flour, and like I know what that means. But like flour just seems like flour. I don't really know what all-purpose is. I know all-purpose, I've seen people use it for like when you put bread on your like kneading bread, but I don't, this is not what that's for. So I just use what they said, all-purpose flour, and I'm going to believe them. So here's my 1 teaspoon of flour. So I tried to like pick like a variety of recipes, and this summer, like we're gonna have like breakfast dishes and like all different kinds of and like desserts and smoothies and things like that. I tried to pick dishes that don't have nuts in them just because I know a lot of people are allergic to nuts. So hopefully I also there were a few recipes that looked interesting, but there were like ingredients that I had never eaten before, and like I don't have that many food allergies. The only thing I'm really allergic to is Skittles. But like I didn't want to be making a video and all of a sudden learn I had an allergic reaction to something. So I tried to like pick things that I know I'm not allergic to. Okay, so sea salt. I do not know why they make salt so hard to open. Like, oh, just like I said, too hard to open. It went right into my dish of stuff. So I'm gonna wash that off. That's gross. Thank you, sea salt people, for making dishes so hard to open. Pinch of sea salt. Just gonna grate that, and that'll be enough. I don't know if that's a pinch. Maybe I'll add some more. I like salt, so it's not healthy for you, but it tastes good. I'm mixing. Sorry I can't get a better angle, but like if I shut my screen anymore, you're not going to see anything. And okay, so what do we need? We need now the teaspoon of maple syrup. Now, okay, flour is done with. Gonna put that there so I have room. Maple syrup. Here's my maple syrup. I love maple syrup. This is supposed to be like, it's not organic. Oh wait, it is organic. Okay, cool. I'm not like huge. I'm not like I just kind of live under the assumption that most of my food is made out of chemicals. And you know what? I've done okay. So, like I don't want to be gross and just like lick the measuring spoon on screen, but I like love maple syrup. Okay, so I've got all the ingredients for my base. Right now, oddly enough, like there's chunks of flour in it, there's like chunks of cinnamon. It says it's supposed to be until it's mixed well. So it kind of, I don't want to say it looks like chocolate milk, because if your chocolate milk looks like this, you probably shouldn't be eating it. Drinking it. You drink chocolate milk, you don't eat it. But it kind of vaguely looks like the liquid parts of it look like very light chocolate milk. This is not, it will not, if your thing looks like my thing, it will not look appetizing. But you're not going to be actually eating this liquid. This is just kind of the base to kind of, dip your bread in. So now I'm going to I'm going to vegetable spray my baking sheet so that I can start like dipping the bread in and putting it on the baking sheet. So technically this is a serving size. The dish is going to be a serving size of serving size of 4 slices of bread. So each person would technically get like 2 slices of bread, 2 slices of French toast. So now it's time to start dipping the bread. Here's my bread. Like I said, my kitchen isn't that big, so all my stuff is kind of on my counter. And like as I finish ingredients, I'm like going between them, trying to like pick them up and find them. And after this part, I'm actually going to take a moment to take a break to pause the video, because right now it's been like 11 minutes and 15 seconds of me talking, and I'm going to have to do some stuff, like I don't want the video going while I'm putting stuff in the oven, just because I want to put pauses in the video in case I need to do some edits. So what we do now is you're gonna lay the bread mixture for 15 seconds or so. I'd say like here's this. I know some people use like forks and knives. I'm just going to use my hands. I washed my hands before this, and it's my kitchen, and I'm the only one eating it, so it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now that it's been 7 seconds, I'm going to turn it over so that it soaks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so you get a very goopy bread slice. I'm putting it on my vegetable sprayed cooking sheet. Let me get another piece of bread. I think I mentioned this before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And turn it around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm not a big whole wheat person. When I was a kid, there wasn't much. There probably was whole wheat, but I didn't eat it. So I'm uncouth, and I just love white bread. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got my goopy banana bread. Put that on here. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm pressing it down a little if you're wondering what I'm doing while I'm counting. Just so it kind of gets on the stuff. You're gonna have stuff left over in your shallow bowl. If you want, you can keep it and then later make, if you hear water running, I'm washing my hands because they're gross and goopy, to make a more French toast later. I just, you need a large baking sheet just for 4. I mean, if you scrunch them together, you could maybe fit 2 more slices. I'm not going to do that because, like I said, I'm one person here and I do not need 6 pieces of bread. So, we're going to be putting the pan in the oven, and you're going to bake it for about 30 minutes. And you would turn the slices halfway through. So after about 15 minutes, you would kind of take them out of the oven and flip them over. When I do that, I will hopefully remember to show a video of it. And I left my baking mitts over there where I need them. All right, let me grab them. Hello. No, you still can't see my face on the video. All right, my baking mitts. And I'm going to turn them. The hardest part of this dish actually was turning them over turning the bread over when they come out 15 minutes. I tried that last time and it kept like destroying the dish. No, not the dish, the bread itself. But hopefully this time, because I put cooking spray, hopefully that will solve the problem. So let me put this in here. I'm opening my oven. If you can't really see my oven right now, but I am putting them in. All right. So I'm not going to tell you what time it is right now because you're going to laugh if I tell you like what time I'm making these dishes. But I'm writing down in 15 minutes I have to turn bread. I'm writing this down because I don't have my phone on me and I can't make an alert, and then I'm doing the math in my head. I'm not good at math. So what time I need to finish cooking bread. Finish cooking bread. So while I'm going to pause this, while I so I can kind of like clean up some of the stuff. So let me show my. I stopped that past video a bit too fast. What I was saying, I was going to clean up some of the things I didn't need anymore for my counter, so I had more room, and it would make it easier to do the next part. So while my bread is cooking, I'm going to start working on the berry syrup. Now, like I said, you're going to have a lot of berry syrup left over, kind of, especially because, you only have 4 pieces of bread. You can use the berry syrup that we're going to make for a other use. My mom, because I kind of experimented with this dish on my mom for Mother's Day, and she and my dad really liked it. She recommended using the later berry syrup on cheesecake. She kept the leftover berry. She asked me if she could keep the leftover berry syrup from what I made, and she bought a cheesecake later and put it on, and she liked it. So to make the syrup is really easy to make. You take your 12-ounce bag of mixed frozen berries. You kind of, the recipe said to start heating it first. I would not, I think that's kind of difficult. I wouldn't heat it first. I would put the stuff in the saucepan first and then heat it. I'm gonna do what I did before in a moment and kind of angle the screen down so you can see. I mean, you can't really see what's going on in the saucepan, but you can kind of see me adding what I need to add. So, here we go. So here's my saucepan. It's got the berries inside, 12 ounces of berries. Now you need a 1/4 cup of water. So here's my measuring cup. I'm going to just use water from the sink. I'm not going to use I'm not a bottled water. I mean, I drink bottled water if I need to, but when I'm at home, my water's fairly clean, I hope. So then you need 1 tablespoon of maple syrup, which we used in the base. I actually I know I said you could use the extra base to make more bread. I kind of threw mine out just because I don't need any more bread. So there's my 1 tablespoon of maple syrup. Now I don't think I am gonna need the tablespoon for another part of the dish, so I gotta not put it in the sink just yet. Let me shut my maple syrup so I don't accidentally spill it. It's made of glass. I hope I don't break it. So we're going to put this on medium heat. You're going to simmer it for 15 to 20 minutes. The liquid will reduce. You're going to stir it regularly. Let's see what time it is now. Okay, I'm writing down what it's going to be in 20 minutes. I am so bad at math, people. So that I know to finish berry syrup. But halfway through simmering it, you're also going to gently mash the fruit with the back of the spoon. I know I said stir it regularly, but at halfway through, you just gently mash it. So halfway between then is this time. Okay. Mash berries. Alright, so let me put my stuff on this stove. You can see me doing that. My light, when I installed a new LED light in my kitchen, my what do you call it? There's some crossing of the wires, so whenever I turn on my stove, there's some clicking of the lights, which probably isn't great, but the electrician was it's not dangerous, so I'm living with it. I'm not gonna make you watch the entire as I cook this, because it's gonna be just me 20 minutes of me stirring every once in a while, and that would be kind of boring. So I'm going to turn the camera on in a couple of minutes when I turn on the camera when it's time to turn over the bread and start like gently mashing the berries with a spoon, so that way you can watch me do that. But I'm going to pause this. I just saw that the bottle of maple syrup is just taking up half of like the screen right now. Not half, but like a third of it. So I'm going to pause this video as I continue to cook. Okay, see you soon. Hello again. You didn't see this because I had paused the video, but I had a moment of panic because I forgot if when I moved to my new apartment I had one of these to do the flipping. We are going to be taking out the bread to flip it over soon. I realized that I kind of put the saucepan here when I should have put it here, so that way you could see what I was doing. But I think you'll still be able to see me flip over the bread in a moment. So give it a minute while it continues to cook. My syrup is boiling. It's supposed to reduce, and it definitely is reducing. So here comes my bread. Taking it out of the oven, being very careful. I'm so paranoid about ovens, guys. Ooh, I do not want to put my parchment paper near my oven stove, so let me this. Alright, my bread, I want to show you what my bread looks like so far. It's not done yet, but there's the bread. So now we're going to turn that over. Hopefully, I don't know, it's hard for me to do stuff with mitts on, but let's see. Hopefully the cooking spray made it easier to do. Sorta. I don't know, I feel like I have to take the oven off to turn this over. Hoping for the best. I'm going to take out a knife and hope that helps a bit, and I'm going to stir my berries a little more. This, when I did it at home, like, I actually had my mom, like, help me do the flipping, just because this is hard. I feel like flipping's hard to do with just one person. Alright, it's kind of better than it was at my parents' house, where, like, I didn't use cooking spray. It's coming off a bit easy. Oh, no. It's not easy to flip. I don't know, maybe people with more cooking experience than me. I bake cakes fairly often, or cookies, but like other dishes, I'm not as big of a cook. So that one came over kind of easy, not that easy. So if you're a more skilled cook than me, maybe your bread will come out looking better. But I'm an amateur cook, so which you have probably already known. Oh, that one went over real easy. Cool. I don't know. Maybe I had to wait a minute before. This one's a bit hard. I don't know. Some of the bread comes out a lot easier than the other bread. That parchment paper is broken a little, but I think it's okay. It's no problem. All right. So I'm going to shove that back in the oven, and then I'm going to actually, after I shove it in the oven, I'm going to do the mashing of the syrup. It's already, getting liquidized. You'll have noticed while you're cooking, like the berries start melting, I guess you'd call it. Put that back on in the stove. Can you imagine with how much, like, what I'm doing now? Can you imagine me cooking, like, a whole Thanksgiving dinner? It would be a mess. Okay, so I'm gently mashing the syrup with the back of the spoon. Yeah. Gently mashing the berries that are left. It's mainly the big strawberries and a bit of blueberries. Like I was talking about Thanksgiving dinners. I make desserts for Thanksgiving dinners. I once made a really good, like, pumpkin swirl cheesecake. But then I had like the recipe, and then, I think I made it back in college, and I've moved like twice, I've gotten new jobs, and I lost the recipe, and I'm so upset because it tasted really, really good. I'm having trouble mashing the big strawberries. Like every time I try to mash it, it kind of like, the strawberry runs away in the dish. So I'm just gonna continue letting it boil, and I'll just have big chunks of strawberries, I guess. So, like I did before, I'm going to pause this while so you're not just watching me like stir a pot for 10, 15 minutes. But like, I'm going to remind you what I said in the beginning, just so like you don't have to keep kind of rewinding or fast forwarding the video. When you put the bread in the oven, you have to cook it for, let's see, you cook it for 30 minutes, but you turn the slice, let me have you look at me for a second. You turn the slices about halfway through, so let's say 15 minutes through. With the syrup itself, you simmer the berry syrup, so the berries over medium for 15 to 20 minutes, but halfway through that, so let's say 7 to 10 minutes between, you gently mash them with a spoon. So the next time I turn the video on, we are going to take the bread out of the oven, and I'm going to show you the toppings of the oven. So, toppings of the bread. I don't talk well. So, see you soon. Hello. Okay, so my berry syrup is almost finished now. I've been cooking it on medium for about 20 minutes on my stovetop. I probably could have used it a little bit, the heat a bit lower. It kind of boiled a little bit, but there's still quite a bit of syrup and it is melting. It's just going to leave the pot a little like sugary, when something like is around the edges. It's kind of gross, but I'll just, clean it. I'll like soak it in my sink for a while. The syrup is going to finish cooking before the bread. Like now I shut the syrup off. It's done. And I still have 2 minutes to go with cooking the bread, which is good. It'll give the syrup a little time to stop boiling. I'll show you what the syrup looks like, although you probably won't be able to see it. Yep, it's steaming. So it kind of looks more like, what do you call it, a compote rather than a syrup, and I realized that, when I made it for my parents for Mother's Day. Oh, it looks alive. It's like, so 2 more minutes to go to cook the bread. And so when I finish the bread and take it out of the oven, I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to show you like I don't have enough like space to do 2 different plates at once. So I'm just going to show you how to do it on like the 2 pieces of bread for the 1 serving. And then like, you'll know what to do with the remaining 2. So I've got I've been using the plate as kind of where to put the spoon. Like if you're making it for somebody, like for a special occasion, you might not want to give them a plate that looks like this. But this is just for demonstrating sake. So we've got like half a minute left to go with the bread, and then we will be able to, like, they call it plating the stuff. So better get on my mitts. I actually bought a new oven, so for when I bought my new apartment, and this is like the first time that I'm kind of like I've used the stove top to like make dinner a bunch of times, but like, oh, off. All right, I'm gonna move this saucepan or compote to over here, and I'm going to open the oven and take the bread out. It smells good. You can definitely smell the cinnamon. So here are the bread slices. They look relatively okay. All right, so, like I said, I'm going to take 2 pieces of bread to show you, I'm just throwing something out real quick, to show you how to kind of decorate them. Not decorate, top them. All right, like I said, I'm gonna take off one of my mitts just so that makes it easier to pick up the bread. So here's one of the breads. You gotta be careful because, like, it might have some parchment paper on the bottom, and I'm sure you don't want to eat the parchment paper. So here's one slice of bread, and then a second slice of bread. Okay, so like I said, if you're making it for 2 people, you would have 2. There would be a second plate for another slice of bread. You know what? I think I could actually, I do think I have room. So let me get my second plate here and show you on this plate as well what to do. Of course, there's always one bread that's hard to manage. There we go. We got both breads breaded on the plate. There we go. All right. So now you're going to put in the toppings for the French toast. So this one, you should still have your second banana. So we're gonna peel this. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna cut it in half first so that like we have like an even thing for both things. Peel. See, I don't like ripe bananas. I think ripe bananas are gross. And I don't really like ripe fruit in general. Like, I know people who are like, ew, why would you eat a fruit that's kind of hard? And I'm like, that's what I like. I don't like smushy foods like this. It makes your hands gross and stuff like that. So I'm going to throw out these banana peels. Like, you'll see, like, over the summer that, like, I'm very kind of, pretty, I don't, I'm not, like, if you're making food for someone, they might be kind of grossed out if you kind of touch their food like this, but, like, if you're making my own food, I don't really think it's a problem like this. So I'm slicing my bananas. Gonna put like 3 banana slices on each toast. So we got 3 slices bananas on each. Then we going to, I'm trying to not like, when you cook like cookie dough by your own and you like totally eat the cookie dough off your hands, like, I'm trying not to do that because I'm doing this video for you guys and I don't like, that's kind of gross to do in front of people, but like, I'm kind of like licking stuff off my hands. Okay, so they technically said like a 1/4 cup of this stuff. I'm not going to be exact of the yogurt. I'm not going to be exact. I'm just going to take like a spoonful and put it on each one just because I don't have, like, you'd have to divide it into like 1/8 of a cup, and I do not have 1/8 of a cup. So I'm just gonna kind of put more yogurt on each one until the thing is done, because I don't want to like just put a half-eaten thing of yogurt onto. Oh, when bananas have those like strings attached, like that come off the bananas, that's what's happening right now. Okay. Shoving this stuff in the garbage. Now, you're going to put 3 fresh berries. You can put more or less, but I'm gonna put 3. Hopefully I have enough. I'm using raspberries for this. I like 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I got enough. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, and now a tablespoon of shredded coconut. I'm just gonna do 1/4 the tablespoon on each because I think that would be easier. So I got my little 1/4 tablespoon right here. I don't know if you can see, there it is on the screen. It's kind of hard when I'm like making, like cooking and looking at the dish itself to see what you're seeing on screen. But here's a little bit there. 1 tablespoon. 1 tablespoon, not tablespoon, 1/4 teaspoon. Don't put 1 tablespoon on it. Although if you like coconut, you can do it. Like, why not? And then 1/4 teaspoon on this one. And your dish is done. Hopefully, it will probably look better, pretty good. It's like, I don't know, my bread came out. I think I like my bananas. I waited oh, I forgot the berry compost. That's like the most compote, not compost, berry compote. Wow, that was dumb of me. That's like the most important part of the, not the most important part, but like what would be the point of making it? So, gonna shove some of that on. Gonna put a lot on each because I like berries more than I like the other stuff that's in this dish. I mean, I like bananas and raspberries, and I kind of like yogurt. I'm not a huge coconut person. I like coconut flavored things more than I like coconut itself. I'm kind of like a snob when it comes to food textures, and I don't like the texture of coconut so much. But ta-da! And I'm almost done. I'm just gonna try to use up all the berries now so I don't have to like clean, put it in an extra Tupperware and use it later. And we are pretty much done. So let me show you what the plate looks like. It kind of looks like half of a s'more on this video camera. I assure you, in person, it does not. Technically, you're supposed to put the syrup on top of the banana and under everything else, but I forgot the berry syrup. So this is what your dish should look like. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it made at least some sense. I know this is like my first time making a whole on cooking video, so hopefully, like, I'm gonna try to add some edits with like text and stuff to make it easier to go around, like, to understand as it's going. But hopefully you enjoyed it. Next week we are going to make a spiced tomato soup. And I hope you enjoy, if you make the French toast syrup yourself, I hope you enjoy it. Oh, I should like take a bite of it to like show that it's like edible, right? So, okay. Oh, it's heavy. Okay. It is edible. I'll say that. It's good. It actually cooled down. I was kind of afraid that like I was gonna put it in my mouth and would just start screaming because it was burning, but it cooled down pretty fast. So, have a good night, and we will see you. Sorry, I'm eating like with my mouth open. See you next week. Bye.